Question number 4, part A of Inter CA May 23 attempt question paper. This is a question on clubbing of income. This question was asked for 6 marks. Mr. Chaman, fantastic name used by institute, appreciate them, who is 50 years old, and his wife Mrs. Chaman, who is 48 years of age, furnish the following information. All the amount of incomes, gains or losses are already computed as per the provisions of the Income Tax Act. Please underline this, already computed as per provisions of Income Tax Act. That means if the house property income is given to you, then it must be after claiming standard deduction of 30%. If it is salary, then it must have been after standard deduction of 50,000. First income is of Mr. Chaman. Mr. Chaman's salary income is 11 lakh. Now from this 11 lakh, we will not subtract 50,000 standard deduction because this income is already computed as per Income Tax Act provision. Mrs. Chaman's income from Kathak performance is 2,50,000. She is a professional Kathak dancer and pursued dancing as her profession. Third, again Mrs. Chaman's income. Mrs. Chaman earned a long-term capital gain of 5,50,000 from sale of shares. Okay. Then fourth income. So up till now 3 incomes. First income was of Mr. Chaman and remaining 2 incomes, second and third income is of Mrs. Chaman. Fourth income, again Mrs. Chaman. Mrs. Chaman gifted 2 lakh rupees to Mr. Chaman out of her Stri Dhan. That means whatever she received from her parents at the time of marriage. But she gifted 2 lakh rupees on 1st April 2023. Mr. Chaman invested the entire amount in stock market but suffered a short-term capital loss of 5,10,000. This is really fabulous on the part of institute that the gifted amount is 2 lakh, but from 2 lakh rupees there is a short-term capital loss of 5 lakh rupees. I am putting it in bracket to indicate negative figure. However, this 5,10,000 should ideally be clubbed in the hands of Mrs. Chaman. It is gifted, this income, negative income, but it is earned by Mr. Chaman from amount gifted from Mrs. Chaman. However, this will be clubbed in the hands of Mrs. Chaman next year because it is gifted on 1st April 2023. That means in financial year 23-24. Understand, if you miss out the date, then your entire answer will go wrong. So this will be clubbed in the hands of Mrs. Chaman, but in the next year, next financial year 23-24, because it is gifted on 1st April 23. Please make a note of that. Fifth point, Miss Naina, their minor daughter, earned 3,56,000 by performing in various quiz competitions held online during the year 22-23. Now this 3,56,000 is earned by participating in quiz competition. This is the income earned by minor daughter by applying skill, talent or specialized knowledge. Therefore, no clubbing provisions will be applicable and will be taxable in the hands of Miss Naina herself only. When we say that this income is not clubbable by virtue of proviso to section 64 subsection 1a, we mean to say clubbing will not be applicable. We don't say that it will not be taxable. It will be taxable, but will be taxable in hands of Naina herself. Her IT return will be filed by father or mother as the case may be. However, further, she kept that amount in savings bank account and she earned interest of 15,000 during 22-23. Now this is interesting. Now this 3,56,000 is not clubbable, but any income earned from 3,56,000 further, that is 15,000 in this example, cannot be considered as having been earned out of application of skill, talent or knowledge. Only this 3,56,000 is earned by applying skill, talent, knowledge. 15,000 is not earned by applying skill, talent, knowledge. Therefore, this income will be clubbable. Clubbable in the hands of that parent whose other income is greater. Now we'll have to find out whether Mrs. Chaman's income is greater or Mr. Chaman. And again, after clubbing, that parent in whose hands it is clubbed will be entitled to get exemption under section 1032 up to 1,500 rupees per annum. However, 1,500 is available only if that parent does not opt for, the parent in whose hands it is clubbed does not opt to be governed by section 115 BAC. So assuming 115 BAC is not applicable for the time being, that parent will get 1032 1,500 exemption, plus this will be eligible for deduction under section 80 TTA up to 10,000 rupees out of 15,000. Why 10,000 will be allowable under 80 TTA? Because Mr. Chaman is 50 years of age, therefore he cannot claim and Mrs. Chaman is 48 years of age. Whosoever claims, whether Chaman or Mrs. Chaman, will be getting deduction under 80TTA and not 80TTB. First of all, why should this be available? This will be available because step number 1, first we will apply clubbing provisions of section 64 subsection 1A in alphabetical order or chronological order. After clubbing, we will claim deduction in the hands of that parent in whose hands it is clubbed. We will claim deduction under 80TTA. So first we have to give effect to clubbing provisions because it is governed by section 64, which comes before section 80. Therefore, section 80TTA will be given effect later on in the hands of that parent whose other income is greater, in whose hands Naina's income 15,000 is clubbed. 80TTA will not be available to Naina but will be available to parent because it is to be given effect after applying clubbing provisions. 6 income, Master Neelab, minor son, earned 35,000 from fixed deposit which was made out of the cash received by him on his birthday from his friends and family. Okay, now this 35,000 is the income earned. How much was cash received upon his birthday? That has not been given. It is just given that this amount of cash that he received, he deposited in FD. So we cannot apply section 56 subsection 2 clause 10 subclause A, money received otherwise on occasion of marriage. It is received on the occasion of birthday. We don't know the amount, therefore we will not apply 56 subsection 2. But this 35,000 ideally should be clubbed in the hands of that parent whose other income is greater, and again that parent will get 1032 exemption. But Neelab suffers from disability given in section 80U. Since Neelab is suffering from disability given in 80U, therefore no clubbing provisions will be applicable. No clubbing, and therefore no 1032 exemption to that parent on the occasion of 35,000 clubbable, since 35,000 is not clubbable. Medical certificate shows that there is a disability up to 75%. Now disability is 75%, that means it is more than 40% but less than 80%. In such situation, deduction will be available to Neelab himself. First of all, this income is not clubbable in the hands of either of the parent but will be taxable. Just like Naina's case, it will be taxable in the hands of Neelab himself. And now Neelab will be getting deduction under section 80U. Deduction under 80U is available up to 75,000 or 1,25,000 depending upon the percentage of disability. If the disability was more than 80%, then 125,000, otherwise 75,000. So here we will claim 75,000. 75,000 restricted to 35,000 because Neelab's income is only 35,000. Alternatively, if Neelab was dependent on his parent, then deduction would have been available to the parent under section 80DD, same amount 75,000 or 125,000. But here we will not claim 80DD, we will claim 80U because it seems that Neelab is not dependent. Otherwise they would have clarified it in the question. If 80U is claimed by Neelab, then parents cannot claim 80DD, and if 80DD is claimed by either of the parent, then Neelab cannot claim 80U, vice versa. That's it. Compute the income in the hands of, compute the total income in the hands of Mr. Chaman, Mrs. Chaman and their minor children for AY 23-24. Ignore section 115 BAC pertaining to alternative tax regime. If 115 BAC is opted for, then standard deduction wouldn't be allowed to Mr. Chaman from salary income. Salary will become 11,50,000 and this 1032 exemption will not be available. Now Neelab's income is not going to be clubbed at all, but Naina's income 3,56,000 will not be clubbed, but this 15,000 is going to be clubbed. Therefore we will have to work out in whose hands Naina's income is liable to be clubbed. It will be clubbed in the hands of that parent whose other income is greater. If you see the income of Mrs. Chaman and Mr. Chaman, first income is of Mr. Chaman, which is 11 lakh net of standard deduction. But as far as Mrs. Chaman is concerned, she has got only two incomes, 2,50,000 and 5,50,000 LTCG. Third and second point are for Mrs. Chaman, but fourth point, clubbing provision will be attracted for this negative income of 5,10,000. That will be from next year onwards because it is out of gift received on 1st April 2023, that is next year. We already discussed this. And then fifth and sixth, so fourth income is not to be taken into account, which is negative income. That will be taken into account from next year. Fifth and sixth, these two are for minor children. That means the income of parent is governed by point number 1, 2 and 3 only. So total income of Mrs. Chaman is 8 lakhs, that is 2 lakh 50 plus 5 lakhs, 5 lakh 50, 8 lakhs, and Mr. Chaman's income is 11 lakh. Therefore, minor child Naina's income will be clubbed in the hands of Mr. Chaman. Let's calculate the total income. Total income would be computed this way. Mr. Chaman 11 lakh salary income, no standard deduction because it is given that income is already computed as per provisions of Income Tax Act. It is given here incomes are already, whatever are the incomes, they are already computed as per provisions of Income Tax Act. That's why we are not considering standard deduction from the salary income. So net salary will be 11 lakh. Then Naina's income, two income she has got, 3 lakh 56,000 and 15,000. 3 lakh 56,000 is not to be clubbed because that is out of application of skill, talent and specialized knowledge. But savings bank account interest of 15,000 is to be clubbed. And then since these people are not opting for 115 BSc, therefore 1032 exemption of 1500 will be allowed to Mr. Chaman. 13,500 will be the income clubbable. GTI therefore will be 11 lakh 13,500, and then Mr. Chaman will get deduction under 80 TTA on account of the savings bank account interest of minor daughter Naina clubbed in the hands of Chaman, 10,000 up to out of 13,500. 11 lakh 3,500 will be the net income of Chaman. On the other hand, Mrs. Chaman's income, which we just calculated to be 8 lakh, she does not have any chapter 6A reduction. She has got 2 lakh 50,000 from Kathak performance and LTCG of 5 lakh 50. Of course, this LTCG, if STT has been paid, then first 1 lakh will not be taxable as per section 112A, and only balance 4 lakh 50,000 will be taxable at the rate of 10%. However, that 1 lakh, first 1 lakh which is not taxable cannot be called as exempt income. That 1 lakh is not exempt. First 1 lakh is taxable at 0% rate. Tax rate on first 1 lakh is 0%, but it is not exempt under any section. Miss Naina, when we come to, she has only one income taxable in her hands. 15,000 has already been clubbed in the hands of father. Her quiz competition income 3 lakh 56,000. She has no chapter 6A deduction. 3 lakh 56,000 will be a GTI as well as NTI. And Master Neelab has got FD interest. He is suffering from ATU disability up to 75%. Therefore, his only income 35,000 will become his GTI. It will not be clubbed in the hands of either of the parents. It will be taxable in the hands of Neelab himself. But on the other hand, he will get deduction under ATU. As we discussed, we are not claiming ATDD in the hands of either of the parent. We are claiming ATU in the hands of Master Neelab himself in the absence of any clarification. Since the disability is 75%, therefore deduction will be 75,000 but restricted to GTI of 35,000. His income will turn down to be nil. With that, this question comes to an end. I hope you have understood this.